Do you think that insomnia can affect anyone?
If you'd asked me 4 years ago, I probably would have said no, just because I always had good sleep. I never had an issue with sleep before this. I never thought it would be something that would come for me. But since I've had it, I do think, it could be triggered at any time due to anything. I think anyone could suffer from it. I would have said 4 years ago, no, I sleep fine. I'm a great sleeper. I love my sleep. And yeah, now I'm kind of in a different frame of mind about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. And when you're in those periods of really restless sleep, not being able to go back to sleep, what's your what's your thought process going at? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your story with insomnia.
Yeah, of course. So I had my first daughter in 2020, at obviously during lockdown, or just before lockdown, actually, February. At the time, I was running two businesses. I now only have one business. I think that's as much as I can handle now. And I fell pregnant quite quickly with my second, which was obviously lovely. But I think I'd underestimated what running two businesses and having two babies under 13 months would entail. And we'd also, during that time, relocated from London to Devon. And we love living in South Devon, but we moved here with no support network. So we'd lost kind of grandparents kind of there back in Kent and Liverpool. So we decided to make that move. And I had my second daughter in March of 2021. The birth wasn't kind of horrendous at all. She had a few breathing issues when she was born. It happened kind of when I was isolated. So my husband had to leave the hospital. So I was the only kind of parent with her. And because I wanted to watch her all night, I kind of couldn't get to sleep during that kind of first, second, third night. And that then triggered something in my brain that falling asleep kind of was not okay, or it wasn't going to be okay. She recovered. She's absolutely fine. Um, but as kind of the weeks, the months went on, it was like something in my brain had told me, if you fall asleep, something bad's going to happen. And I'd maybe be able to get 1 or 2 hours, but then I'd wake before she was waking for night feeds. And it just spiraled. I just lost control of it completely. So I'd go to bed around 10 or 11 at night. I'd have really good, they call it sleep hygiene, but making sure the room's really dark, it's cool enough, you've eaten enough hours before, you've listened to meditation, you've done this, you've done that. And I'd wake up normally about 1 a.m. and then I'd be up until the kids would wake up at about 6:30. And this went on for at least 2 years. So I think the longest stretch I got in the first 2 years was about 2 or 3 hours. I was put on medication from the doctors, which I took sporadically because it made me feel so awful the next day. It the only way I could describe it is I felt like I'd been drugged and I just could not function in the mornings. I was just really lethargic. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't look after the kids. It just made me feel really awful. So I started to seek anything, everything and anything that would help. I have a long list, which we can probably go into, of all the different things that I did try and actually what worked and what didn't in the end. But I think I needed to deal with the initial issue, which was the childbirth. And I went through a lot of hypnotherapy and CRB therapy that did really help deal with that underlying issue and made me realize, yes, it's okay to sleep. And once I'd gone through that therapy, I started to then deal with everything else around kind of how I was coping as a mother with two very young children and running a business and COVID and being alone in hospital and all those things that I had to deal with. So once I got dealt with the initial issue, I could then kind of focus on, okay, what's going to give me 3 hours? What's going to give me 4 hours? And now I can get about 5 hours, which I'll take. I'll take 5 hours any day.